Ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. We've arrived. After all the Reddit memes, after all the complaining and criticism, constructively and correctly done criticism on Reddit, the other places, in back channels, and even in the EVE official Discord. We did it. He did it. Our hero, CCP Okami, has saved mining, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Now, listen, today, CCP Okami put out a Equinox mining balance, philosophy, and learning. So this is great. I want to start off. I've skimmed this blog, and it is a long blog, okay? We're literally not going to get through all of this today because it's just a lot. What I want to go after is he very correctly. I love that they understand this. Thank you for helping the React streamers out, okay, Okami, because it's too much to read. I have to be able to get it done. So maybe we'll put it here. If y'all can't read it, let me know. I can always like make myself smaller, okay? So let me start from the beginning. The recent EVE expansion last year in the summer, Equinox, its goal was to improve mining, which is the building blocks, which is like the base of everything in EVE Online, okay? And it did not. it just made the prices of the minerals, so you mine to get asteroid rocks, roughly speaking, then you refine those into minerals, and those minerals become metals and modules and ammo, etc. The mineral prices, let me turn off those alerts, thank you. The mineral prices got so high that even basic ships now, the prices are in flux, and industry people, all of my margins are ruined. But actually, it's affecting all of New Eden across the board. And Equinox, roughly speaking, did not do what it was intended to do. It broke more than it fixed, and it didn't fix very much. 800K rifters. Yeah, my margins are great. There it is. Your margins are great if you watched our video last week about how, hey, check out Pyrite and Mexilon. You know, they're super high. Yeah, we're in the market for a Sidewinder chance, so sue me. I want one. We told y'all a couple weeks ago, yo, make sure that you're selling your Mexilon because it's like 3x the price. And it's going down, but still, it used to be going for like 66 ISK, and it's still going as of today for 110 ISK. Almost double what it was going for. So make sure you keep this going. And look, it's let's filter out today because somebody failed. Still getting over being sick, chat. So even with this, you're still going to make more. So point is, mining is not in a good place. A couple week and a half ago, I think, CCP Okami, the game director, one of the game director. Okay, this is not some like entry level person that they had writing a blog. This is the guy. Okay, and he said. We made a video on this 2 weeks ago about how he said, hey, I've seen your stuff. I'm going to figure this out and we're going to communicate with y'all. Then 2 weeks later, they did it. First of all, before we continue, how many developers actually do this? How many devs actually say, look, we've seen your concerns. Let's solve this together. Let's talk about it. CCP Games does. Don't listen to the bitter people, okay? Now, no one's perfect. A company is just made up of imperfect people, okay? And CCP Games have made some mistakes in the past too, but this is great. Let's talk about mining. Let's get this going. Okay. So I love at the very top, CCP Okami includes a TLDR, okay? Let's get our production going as well. Still have a slight residual cough, so thank you for your patience for me having the flu. I'll have a cough for like a month, chat. That's what the doctor was saying. So, sometimes that's just what happens. All right, so TLDR. We got mining changes. A number of mining changes are going out to alleviate a number of problems in nullsec, okay? We don't anticipate these will be one and done fixes. We're going to talk about that point a lot. I'll check in with the community every 2 weeks, and we'll make additional adjustments around every 4 weeks until we get the ecosystem into a healthy place. Wow. I could end the video right there. That's huge. And I want y'all to give a big 07 to CCP Okami and the devs working on this. That is a big deal. Thank you for hearing us, for cataloging it, and then for responding in a healthy way. This is great. Okay, I've seen other game studios that when the community is, let's say, unhappy with how things are, they make literal tweets that say things like,
"You're tough. We don't care. You're still going to buy our game because you're addicted."
And they're right, unfortunately. This is a great step forward. So thank you for that. So we're not going to read all this. I will link this in chat, and we'll also put this in the description of the YouTube video so you can see it yourself. It's just a lot to read. It would literally take us like the rest of the stream to go through all. It's just a lot. And I like that there's so much. I like this. Y'all can go deep. I'm going to give you the top level. I skimmed this already. Okay. So first of all, who's writing this? It's CCP Okami. He's the game design director. Again, not just some dude, is the game design director. It's great. They recognize that the problem is the mineral price index. This is how expensive. Some of you were asking, what's the MPI in our last comment section? MPI is the mineral price index. This is important because it is literally the base of all of the economy in EVE Online, of the entire game. Because again, you mine the asteroids, you refine them into minerals, and that becomes every item. Okay, that's every single item. Okay, craziness. So good morning, D-Ron. It's good to see you. So he's going to break down some challenges. Let's keep this going. So we've talked about this in the past. Again, I'll skim through this, that EVE Online is more of a simulation than it is a video game. So CCP Games historically has taken a stance of hands off with the market, and you're going to figure out how to fix it yourself, players, because it's more of a simulation than it is a video game. With this, they recognize they changed some stuff, so they have to fix some stuff. I like how they're going to do it over time. They're not just going to like swing the pendulum back one crazy way and then, oh, that's it. That's your changes. They're going to keep implementing consistent changes. This is very in line with their, let's call it ethos, and how they're going to run the game that we all love. We love to see it. We love to see it. So, okay, he goes into what happened in Equinox. Okay, so here's literally what happened. They introduced Tier 1 and Tier 2 mining upgrades that allowed SOV system owners to choose which ore types spawned in their own space. So if you were in nullsec and you put down the structure that looks like a big PS4, I call it the PS4 because it's the literal SOV hub, the sovereignty hub, okay? You would get to choose what kind of ores would spawn in addition in your system. So if you wanted a bunch of pyrite, you could do that, etc. Sounds good. Didn't really work out to be good. We're gonna get to that. We made more ores available in nullsec with greater amounts of flexibility and choice via SOV upgrades. Now, this sentence alone is gonna cause the serial online commenters to start, I can literally hear the jowls moving as they're like, just pause. This is what we're gonna, okay, we're gonna talk about it. Just wait. Just don't start typing paragraphs. Give me a moment, okay? Patience, my son, patience. Okay, we introduced new ores in these sites were curated for Equinox's flexibility. Right, Sean? Crazy. These sites have more asteroids with lower amounts and low to medium volume. What happened was they went, and we said this when Equinox came out. They took what was typically vertical mining, where each system had a lot of, each solar system had a lot of let me back it up here. Each solar system had a lot of mining nodes in it. If each of these dots is a solar system, each one had a lot of mining nodes in it, okay? What they did was they removed all the mining nodes in those, and they spread out things across more systems. They made nullsec more horizontal instead of more vertical. This, I said back in the day, would hopefully, when Equinox was coming out, would hopefully cause more conflict, more wars, more fights in the game, which is good for the game, period, full stop. So it gets everything going, but it didn't end up that way. It ended up being not a good change, not the best change. We can just call a spade a spade. So that's what happened, okay? That's what happened. And they go into all of this. I like this paragraph, actually, where there isn't like a level design in EVE. Let me just read this to you. We do design and craft our sites with both form and function in mind, trying to create spaces that feel like an enjoyable and realistic science fiction setting. However, the impact of some of the aesthetic decisions can also affect how our systems work. The radius of our sites in Equinox was bigger than the average site. There were more rocks that were more spread out along with set decorations. Yeah, sure. We wanted them to feel like more real, genuine, chunky, aspirational asteroid fields. Some of you that don't understand Null and haven't been in Null don't understand that this is anti-Rorqual. Okay, the Rorqual is the big capital mining ship that's the size of a small moon that you have to station. Okay, why can't did I not type this in correctly? Did I not type in Rorqual correctly, chat? How do you spell? Chat, I didn't finish college, okay? There it is. I couldn't spell, apparently. Thank you for that. These are the size of small moons, and they have to siege up in order to get their benefits, which means they have to stand still. And when they're standing still, they can't go. It's like, what is it, like a 5-minute timer? I don't even know. It's a long timer, and they can't get the faraway rocks because they're standing still as easy. And we talk a lot about how video games need to be fun. And if there's a grind that's just boring, that's not enjoyable, it's a bad system, period. So, and this was an unfun system, roughly speaking. Okay, so the big boy rock eater is right. So, in summary, they wanted to give Null more flexibility and choice. This is what they wanted to do. We needed to make sure more flexibility was balanced against the rest of the universe. This is important. Okay, EVE is a big game. And while Equinox might have been one of the biggest changes in recent years, I understand why it's taken them this long, because quite frankly, they wanted to see if we would figure it out, if the players would like solve this new system and then have the prices come back down on our own shoulders. I'm honestly surprised that the prices just started going down on minerals, because, and I'll kind of get on my like soapbox here for a sec. Can I not find pyrite? How do you spell this thing? I always forget the E. My dyslexia can't handle this. The price for pyrite has been going up and up and up and up and up. I'm surprised that this is a bad thing, because you'd think more people would just mine in high sec and just get more ore and then sell the minerals. I had a comment in a couple videos ago from some, I assume, an industry person that said,
I don't sell the minerals. I have a deep chain that I craft stuff that's like 10 things deep. I don't sell the minerals.
My brother in Christ, if the minerals have gone up from 9 ISK apiece to 22, double and change in price, maybe you should consider selling the minerals. You know, like, I understand that people like their system. How a lot of the comments and the not so constructive criticisms read, and then I'll say this and I'll get off my soapbox, is this: I have a system that I've made and I'll never change. Rock, flag, and eagle, right, Charlie? That's kind of like, that's how this read, okay? Sometimes you just have to ebb and flow with things. With that said, I recognize that this needed to be changed and fixed by the devs. Okay, so let's see. We needed to account for different play styles. This is very archaic. I'll talk more about that later. We wanted to make a beautiful science fiction space rocks for you to enjoy. Okay, thank you for that, CCP Okami. Thank you for that. So, okay. Let's read this part too. All right, our conditions for creating these ores were, the ores that we were just talking about, they needed to get the majority of their value from a single mineral type. Okay, as their sites was meant to be a specific upgrade choice, they were talking about the SOV upgrades, okay. This could mean being 100% made up of one mineral, or mostly being above that mineral with a few traces of some others. They needed to upgrade, they needed an appropriate, ISK per M3 value to be placed on large quantities in sites that would spawn in large numbers. So what they were trying to do is to make it so that if you picked pyrite for your sovereignty, you would be like the pyrite section of nullsec. If you picked other whatever, you'd be that, type of ore in nullsec. That was the idea. Ended up not really happening that way. So again, we're gonna skip a lot of this because you can go into depth here. This is just a lot for me to get through. I skimmed this, and CCP Okami did a great job explaining everything. And let's look at this. Actually, I remember this paragraph. So hindsight's 2020. We can totally see where we made our missteps. While the intention was sound, our hypothesis and estimates didn't work out and led us to our high MPI that we have today. I personally have a lot of learning around how to better work with you folks around messaging, our intentions around big system reworks, and I'm going to be way more in touch with you as we roll out the changes and updates like this. Once again, how you do something is just as important as what you do. Let's talk about this for a sec. As video game developers, there is something to be said about not revealing everything that's going to happen to the game before the update happens. Because then it's like the expansion doesn't really happen. It's just like, okay, well, we already know it's there. Like, if you announce an expansion coming out in June, but you release all the stuff and to like the public information-wise from like Chrome tab or something in like May, then people are just going to theorycraft stuff and like mostly solve it without playing it before the expansion even comes out. That's not fun. You have to get out in space and like explore stuff. So there's one side of the aisle that is, and the methodology here, it's a video game. They have to be able to release stuff and do it in a way that's fun. What's not good though for EVE specifically is the biggest change in recent years was Equinox, and it literally broke the global EVE economy. So those are the two like pendulum swing areas, right? Right now they're just made changes and said, here's the changes. And then months later, they started trying to fix stuff once they saw, look, this isn't working. We're swinging the pendulum back, hopefully more towards the middle, not towards the other side of, we're going to work with you guys. That's how this reads to me. We're going to work with the players more on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis to have these changes be more, let's call it segmented, instead of just, hey, nullsec's different now. And then everyone has to just like, oh my God, so crazy. So, and I agree, Obi. Obi says they always cared for the community since way back at the beginning. I agree with this overarching statement that the devs of EVE Online have cared about the community, because here's what a good developer looks like to me. Here's some stuff that's we put our heart and soul into, and even if the vocal minority, and they are the minority, get upset about something, the bulk of the game is still fun. There's still 20,000 plus people playing the game concurrently every hour on the hour every day. Playing the game, and that only happens if the game is enjoyable, and the game is only enjoyable if the people making the game are enjoying making the game, if they're allowed to be creative. So I could go on about that, for goodness gracious. So sheesh. So this is good. This is good. It's more than good. It's great. So, all right. He talks about why balancing EVE is hard. Let me just summarize all of that for you before we get to what's next. Balancing EVE is hard because of one of EVE's strengths is that the game doesn't really change year to year at a macro sense. Equinox changed a lot, but for example, Equinox came out, nullsec mining happened, but if someone just does Abyss all day, every day for years, and these people exist, okay, and this is fine, this is a completely valid way to play EVE Online, maybe you only like Abyss, they're not gonna really notice. Sure, the ship, my ship price went up a little bit. Oh, the ammo prices are a bit different, but they're printing ISK anyway. They don't really care. Some people that are in low sec that are just PvPing in their Stratioses and are running around and they're Lokis and they're popping people, they're gonna feel it a little bit, but they're not really gonna notice it very much. It's the ripples. That's the problem with balancing EVE. If they change a value of one asteroid type in nullsec, some dude orca mining ice in high sec is going to be like, the prices of things are different all of a sudden. What the heck happened? Because that is how it goes in EVE. It's so different. The economy is so connected from one side of the place to the other that one little thing ripples out. So when they make a big change like Equinox, well, stuff's going to change at a macro sense. So, and the other thing that they have to do, and that they're doing with this, and they've done this historically, but they've announced that they're going to do this every couple weeks, is they trust time to help with the balancing of things. Where when the Deluge and the Torrent came out, I was amazed at how powerful those ships were. They were nuts. I could fit multiple large shield extenders on those ships. Like, I think I had a full rack of them, for God's sake. And I put them out and I was like, yeah, my Deluge has like 80,000 EHP. What? This is like as much as my Occator in some cases, and it's a blockade runner. It got nerfed that first day. I'm convinced, and hello game balancing devs, that they saw my video and they were like,
did you see Loru broke the Deluge? We gotta nerf this thing, man. He's too powerful.
And fine, sure. We updated the fit and we updated our link, and then it was all fine. That kind of stuff is gonna happen. But the macro stuff, man, you got to give that time. You got to like let the market kind of settle, because people were still spooling up their Metanox moon drills a couple months ago. So how are we supposed to make balancing updates? So I like the process that CCP Games does, where they let time be on the player's side, where they don't just make snap decisions. most of the time. If there's a ship balancing issue, if it's like, look, we have certain minimums we want the ship to do, like a blockade runner probably shouldn't have as much EHP as a deep space transport. That's a bit much. So I understand them nerfing the deluge the first day, although I was sad because I liked my tanky, cloaky boy. You know, it is what it is. Let's talk about what they're doing next. Okay, so with all this, they're going to make some changes. Here's what they're fixing. Okay, so by the way, shout out to CSM 19, Drake, Oz, all the other people that are on the CSM. This is a big deal. They've been helping a ton, and a lot of what they've been doing as players that we elected to the CSM in order to like be in between stuff, right? They've been helping a ton to be able to make sure that all these things are getting better. So thank you to the CSM. So here's what's being changed. Ore anomalies generated by both T1 and T2 prospecting array upgrades in nullsec have been rebalanced to contain a higher quantity of ore distributed across fewer but larger asteroids. So what they did was they're reducing the number of asteroids, but they're making each asteroid have more in it. This again is pro Rorqual. We'll see how close they are together. But I like this change because part of the annoyance with mining is if you're trying to get, for example, Mexilon and HiSec, my Coveter, like half the cycle of my T2 strip miners and the one asteroid is gone. So I have to keep like scanning something, managing it, clicking, trying this, click, and it ends up not being very fun. It doesn't, the RTS element, the macro, you know, messing with stuff, and then to the micro, doesn't feel very fun. So making the asteroids bigger, I think, is a good change. This is to help address the fact that many of these sites have been expressed to be too small and inefficient. There it is. As well as having increased micromanagement due to rock sizes. What did I just say? Thanks to the gifted subs, Anonymous. God freaking bless you, my friend. We'll be adding T3 mining upgrades for Sov hubs. This is big. Y'all want more T3 stuff? Let's go. That will introduce much larger rocks that have roughly 3 to 5.5, 3 to 6 ore of a T2 site. Ooh, yeah, let's go. See, the Rorqual makes your hulks very, very efficient. Okay, the Rorquals turn the hulks into mini Rorquals, essentially. Okay, they make the power of the hulks go up way much, but you couldn't really use it. At least not in a fun way, because the rocks were too small. So you would have to like keep, if you had like more than a couple hulks, you'd be like, okay, I have to, it was very like stressful and kind of annoying. This is great. This is great. This is to help create larger, more chunky sites that also may entice some more capital mining. And there it is. So more gifted subs. Bless you, my friend. God, ancient biceps. 07 to you, my friend. Thank you for the gifted subs. Sheesh, y'all coming and dropping them today. Thank you for that. This is to, so yes, this is, here we go. This is to alleviate, oh, what's like go up? I got distracted by the subs. Thank you for that. Thank you again. Murkoch sites spawn a, I call it what I call it. T2 and T3 upgrades will be more plentiful and will distribute more evenly across systems that have upgrades installed instead of clustering. This is a direct, this one right here. More chunk, ladies and gentlemen. This is a direct call that some people, many people in the EVE Discord and the various forums have been calling for. Where's the Merc? Give me back my Merc. It's been just like, where is the Morphite, dude? We can't find it. They're gonna add more to the game. That is a direct response to player feedback. Thank you, CCP Games. This to alleviate some inefficiency around acquiring Morphite that is impacted by how the sites are currently distributed. Fair enough. More Dunium will have a 5% increased refinement rate. Stockpiles rejoice. I know you've been holding on to yours once you read this naughty. So look, what I guarantee you has been happening this past week is CCP Okami put out 2 weeks ago, like we were talking about, like, hey, I'm going to be updating some things. I'm going to be checking out some stuff. Great, fun, excellent. You know, people have been mining and have been not selling. They've been waiting for stuff. Fine. This is really good. You get 5% more on Moradunium than you did last week, whatever. You know, it's literally worth 5% more. Great. Good change. We'd love to see it. This is to help alleviate the pyrite availability that's being largely caused by knock-on effect of Metanox moon drills. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sure. New ore deep core strip mining module that will reduce waste on Merc mining. Is this in the game yet? Or deep core? Is this a thing? Or deep core mining laser? This was already in the game, right? This was already in the game, chat. Okay. New. Yeah, this is not a strip miner. This is just a. This is like a for the prospect. Okay, so it's not in the game yet. A new item for strip miners or for the barges. Strip mining module that will reduce the waste of merc mining. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You just get more merc when you're using that module. Now, this is an ore module. These are going to be expensive, okay? The current ore strip miners are very, very big. Okay, what are these? Hundreds of millions? Hundreds of millions? Yeah, they're 200 million a piece. And you know you need 2 of them in your stuff. So 400 million-esque. Big deal. This will encourage people to fly more expensive things. I expect the skiff prices to go up, by the way, because people are going to be running this. People not going to be wanting to use hulks. They're made of paper, and people just, thank you for the biddies, thank you very much. They're not going to be wanting using hulks as much, I think, because what's the point of having increased mining speed if you just die to the first Loki that shows up on site? Expect a lot of skiffs and procurers to be getting it done, okay? Oh yes, Nathan, a lot of camps in the ore pipeline for sure. Increased magmatic gas cost of Metanox moon drills by 35%. I don't understand this. I don't know enough about the Metanox moon drills. We felt that Metanox were unilaterally too cheap to run and anticipate this will have an impact, gotcha, on the overall market of Metanox and on the moon goo associated with the mineral market. I like this change. How do you increase prices for things that players generate? You make it harder to get into the thing that makes it, especially the Metanox moon drill, which is automated. This is something that is you set it up and then it keeps making stuff. So magmatic gas is like the fuel for it. I haven't actually set up one of these myself, so I'm not sure. I like this change. I like the change a lot because this makes the automated moon drill harder to fly, harder to set up. Great, excellent, sounds good to me. So yes, there it is, McCavity. True. Wait, but I think you're missing how much more efficient the Hulk is. Oh, I know the Hulk is like stupid efficient. I understand. My point is, I think with more of these being out, you're gonna need some more protection. You have to ebb and flow with the meta as always. We'll see. You know, the Hulk is light years ahead of the skiff, literal light years. So, okay, notably, we're not touching ore density of our newer nullsec ores at this time. While we are aware of the feedback and understand the complaints with it, it's more complex lever to pull that touches both on reworking many of the sites from the content perspective, also puts some risk on stockpiles as well. Will this fix everything all at once? Being totally honest, probably not. There's no silver bullet here, and I can't promise this is going to be the magic change that gets it all right. However, since there's a large number of changes going out the door at once, I want to see how these land and what their impact on our simulated universe is. I promise to be looking at this data and check on with you guys every 2 weeks in the official EVE Discord. So look, here's my call to my community that we always do with these kind of updates. Head to the EVE Discord. Reddit is not the place to do this, guys. It's just not. Reddit is full of bitter vets and propaganda. I have memes to show you. That's from Reddit. This is the first good meme I've seen literally ever on EVE Reddit. Okay, the first positive, joyful meme. Oh, is there more? Let's see it. Mineral prices, MPI spectators, CCP OKAMI'S, Temple. Let's go. That's good. Miners and CCP Okami, this random dude. This guy making memes. Sure. Fair. Miners after we can mine more minerals with large rocks again. 200,000 units are ready with 1 million more well on the way. These are good memes, chat. I like this. So I would not go to EVE Reddit. Go to the EVE Discord, chat. We talk about this a lot. The mods of EVE Reddit are, mods of any subreddit are just, they're mods of Reddit. And go to EVE Discord. Give official feedback to the official CCP things. It's like the Messiah CCP Okami. It's literally correct, B9, actually. It's so good. So I recognize that not all of this is going to solve our problems, okay? Something we like to talk about is that it's not just up to the devs to solve our problems. I know that they and the changes they made are some of the reason that this was going on with Equinox, with being such a big update. The devs are doing their part. It's time for us to do our parts when these go live, which I don't know if they went live today or if they're going live soon. We'll read this in just a sec. My call to my community is this: get in the EVE Discord, give feedback, and go try it. Go see it yourself. Go see if with this new ore things, if you're in nullsec, go see if you can make some ISK and how it feels and what it's like, then go give feedback to the devs. Don't just read what other people have said and then assume that's what it is. If you're in a null block, go do it yourself. Undock yourself and go see how it is and then give your own feedback. I promise it's valuable to the devs. They've proved that that's the case, okay? So, or B9, get in the gang ship and go farm the farmers, am I right? That's the way. That's the way, okay? It's up to the community at large, by the way, to get this done. So, all right, I'm going to give you a heavy caveat here. Some things are very real and in our near future, and some things are just discussions we're having internally. Okay, chat, lock in. Everybody else get real excited, okay? You know, undock. Why would I do that when I can moan on Reddit? Literally most of the people on EVE Reddit. Okay, it's why I always recommend just don't. We mustn't go there, Simba. You know, it's just not a good spot. We'll set up an official post on the EVE forums to hear you out and IDs and feedback as well. Sure, okay. Capital mining. This is one we're totally committed to. We want to get rural crawls back in space. There it is, chat. There it is. That's correct. The rural qual. We need to do this one in a measured way. It doesn't lead us back to the divisive Rorqual era. Rorquals used to be like so good that it was just, let's say it was too much, I think. Okay, and this is broad stroking a lot, but you know, I like this. They want capital mining to be more of a thing. I want you to read behind this too. The Rorqual is the capital miner, but they're saying they want to get Rorquals back in space, but this is not called Rorqual mining. It's called capital mining. I propose to you that other capital mining ships might be coming with more specialized roles. It's fair to say that the ore, we've said this, that ore, my biggest complaint in the game is that the only mining ships you can fly are ore. And I can't fly the Rorqual on this character, but okay, point is, this is the only capital mining ship in the game, is the Rorqual. I'd like to see some Empire mining ships that are, let's say, not as powerful as these, but still fulfill a role. Destroyers? What if we had a Caldari destroyer that was a mining ship? Not as powerful as the barges, but not as weak as the Venture. Okay, so the Venture is like the intro, then you have your Empire, then you have your barge, and give it more of a progression. Okay, so Orcas are technically a capital ship. You're correct. Orcas are literally technically capital ships, but they're like they're like barely sub caps. Correct. So there's a lot going there. Maybe we'll see some improvements to the Orca as well, and or some other things that aren't just, you know, you must fly a Venture, you must fly a barge. I think there's a lot more that we could do here is what I'm saying. So mining in other regions. Look, I love you, nullsecers. Whoa, okay, we gotta think of a better name there. That was almost scary, sheesh chan. But you can't use that word. I really want to get to some other areas of space as well. Once we have mining sorted out for you folks, I'd like to really make sure we're tending to other areas of space. I'm telling you right now, the biggest thing that has to get fixed is gas mining. Gas mining is in a very basically weird place where it's either like lucrative treasure that literally makes you rich in one go, or you are better off mining moon goo even with the prices being where they are. It's very weird right now, and it's because of some of the recent changes that the CCP Games has made as well. So we'll see. I love gas mining. It's a lot of fun, but it's just odd. And it's in a, it's in a really weird place. Jackpots and surprise. One of my personal wishes for EVE is for it to be a more dynamic universe with surprises and wonders. I think that mining is a great place for us to explore this dynamism. Sure, I like this word, by the way. Can you imagine stumbling across some mega rare and valuable ores in places you didn't expect them? I would love this to be a thing. So right now in the agency, okay? Right now in the agency, we've got, let me close all this other stuff, sheesh. We're going to be going after some of those soon. If you go to resource harvesting, there is ore anomalies, okay? And these show better ores within a certain distance that are better than normal ores, and you can go to these anomalies and you can get stuff. I'd like there to be something like this, but better. I remember when I just came back to Eve, even before I was making content, I had like a gas huffing venture. I was going into wormholes, and one day I was scanning down some cosmic SIGs where I was living, and there was a high-sec gas site. And I was like, what the heck? And I didn't see it on the agency. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong place, whatever. And I went there and I made like 200 million ISK in like an afternoon with two, because I only had two accounts. I had two ventures. And I was like, it literally I made more that afternoon than I made in like 6 months, because I didn't have a great income stream yet. I wasn't doing PI. I didn't have the guides I made for you all for me yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'd like more of that. More, because these interesting areas will then become things to fight over, which will then become something you have to protect. And then you need a guild, or a corp. I can't just listen to me. And then you need I have WoW brain, thank you. You need all these things, and all of a sudden the friendship happens, okay? So more stuff like that is a good thing, and I think we should do that more often. I love this. So Metanox and Autumn Miners. Let's say we actually really love the role these are playing in the game right now, sure. However, we're seeing some unintended side effects. Rip Pyrite. I think there's room for us to continue to expand on these, both in terms of their systems and gameplay, as we monitor what the medium long-term impact of the new over New Eden. Are there ways to create more content around Metanox for players? Could there be new types of Metanox that provide different types of benefits and trade-offs? I've seen a bunch of feedback on the CSM. I like this idea. This is good to hear that they like where it is, because a lot of people are saying, oh my God, automated miner, terrible for the game. I don't think it's terrible for the game in the long term. I think that we need to do more. Like, I have a guy in my DMs that is telling me that him and his buddies have been doing nothing but hunting skyhooks and Metanox moon drills, and just been robbing nullsec corps blind, and make billions in a day, just taking stuff, getting things, assaulting structures, and no one defends it. Because there's just 20 more moon drills, and yeah, you can have one, sure. What if there was more to this? I like this idea, that instead of saying, look, the Metanox has a bad effect on the economy and people are not undocking anymore, we're going to incentivize more things. You can see the macro good game design, that instead of saying, look, this thing, y'all don't like it, we're going to nerf it. Instead of that, it's, look, y'all don't like this thing, we actually have future plans for this, we're not going to tell you about yet, wink, wink, we're going to make more carrots on a stick for y'all to come get on a stick. It's good. I love me some Jeff. Was that Dunham, right? Jeff Dunham chat. So funny. .com. Exactly right. Waste mechanic. Let's be real. Who likes waste? Literally nobody. I think this is a dumb mechanic. I think this is a stupid mechanic. Okay. It really is just not. It's an unfun mechanic. This is only half mechanic at the moment, and we're missing any form of interesting way to deal with it or mitigate it. We totally have some ideas brewing. It's on the radar and it's being worked on. Okay. Good enough. I'll tell you that the waste mechanic is really just really stupid. It's just really dumb. I like this. The Tech 2 mining crystals, okay? They have a volatility. Where is it? They have a residue probability bonus. Where is what I was looking for? Hello? Is it this? Sure. These guys have a residue probability bonus of 3.6%. The Type Bs have a 30%, okay, but they go much faster. The Type Cs have a massive bonus, and when I first saw these, I was like, oh, Type C crystals are like PvP mining, where you go in not trying to get out. You go in and you burn off the asteroid, and you make it so it's the war of attrition. Super intriguing. Nobody does this. They're not used, or at least they're not used enough. Okay, it's a very interesting concept, but in practice, literally nobody's using this. And it's not just for Abyss. It's just I live in Ponchman, so I think about this. So it's more stuff like that use minings. I want to see how waste can be used, not as a way to just control prices. Is there something we can do to use waste as like a as a strategy, not something that is just kind of there and like a fly flying in your ear, right? It's very strange. So, core mining gameplay. Well, EVE's mining at its core, the way players have engaged with mining over the years do not need to be restricted to regular, known, and loved mining ships. Some of our eternal conversations, here we go, have been around trying to imagine what other fantasies and gameplay we can add to EVE that also interact with mining and fulfill some of its promises. Okay, we have a version of salvaging, but we don't think it delivers that fantasy strong enough. I love this. Salvaging is so weird because it's really good for intro players. But then once you get past your first like 10 million salvaging, you're like, why would I salvage that wreck? It's going to get me like 100,000 ISK. It's not really worth it. What are ways we can make scrapping and salvaging more interesting and engaging? Yes, I love this. Yes, please. Yes, please to that whole thing. So huge deal. We had a great time during the frigate free-for-all last year, flying our rat Sunesis fit. We were hunting some cheese and we were just salvaging all the wrecks, and it was honestly a blast. It was so much fun to like zip around, and some dude with like sniper drones was like pushing us off. It was a lot of fun. I was like, what the heck? You know, it was a lot of fun. I would love to see there be, instead of what I like the thinking here is how it's not just, hi, how do we add more mining ships, which I would like anyway, but we've talked about that. Give me dedicated Empire mining ships that are like destroyer level in between a venture and a mining barge, which is a cruiser, right? That would be really nice. But instead of just like, hey, we're going to add more mining ships, it's what resource gathering systems can we improve? This is a good thing. This is something CCP Games has been doing recently. If you remember Havoc, they took faction warfare and made it great. It's fun. We're going to do some today. I'm really pleased with the direction that CCP Games is taking with this. Yeah, the Noctis is literally not worth flying because it's just a big clunky thing that you're never going to pay off no matter the salvage you do. And you'll see like people farming Triglavians in high sec on those wormholes. They don't have a Noctis. They've got like an Orca outfit with salvaging because it's harder to kill than a Noctis from the gankers. And it's, you know, it's like has more storage, all this other stuff. So my point is, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good thing. I'm pleased to see where the devs are going in this direction. Thank you again to CCP Okami for all this awesome stuff. It's great to see a dev team that is actually listening to people and being present for the people. Thank you very much for all the dev team involved. Chat, this is not just Okami. This is a team effort for the team very clearly. Even though Okami is like the, you know, public figurehead, you can clearly see the team has come together on this and is helping. EVE evolved, new API stuff. There's a Plex sale happening right now. Don't miss it. Okay, we'll see you next time. Thanks very much, y'all. Sub right here for more EVE guides. And thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you very, very soon.